For graphic designers, sometimes it seems very complicated. But don't worry, this video is for you. Everything you need to know about Adobe Illustrator in 10 minutes or less to really keep it simple for graphic design. What is Adobe Illustrator? It's vector drawing software that the students use to create vector drawings for graphic design. What is a vector? A vector is a computer-generated image that doesn't lose line quality when you go really big or really small. See, on the right, that's pixelated because it pixelates it into a bitmap format. All right, so go through this in my workshop. Okay, I do apologize about this. I did the entire demo video before without any audio, so this is my second attempt. So for this workshop, we want to play with Adobe Illustrator because it's one of those where if you've never touched a computer before, Illustrator is one of those that it should be similar to a paint program for new people, but also it gives you a little bit more understanding of how crystal clear the vector filing is. So Adobe Illustrator is, in a nutshell, a vector file drawing system or a vector drawing system, okay? So hopefully you have it open to here. If not, sometimes it might look like this. So you just go new file. And then what you want to do is set it up for 15 by 15 inches, CMYK color in Illustrator. In Photoshop, it's RGB graphics, okay? So red, blue, RG, green, sorry. So CMYK is the other colors. So I'm just going to create that real quick. All right. So to keep it simple, that's not just a clever thing that I put on the wall, but it's a mindset. So I'm going to go to my pen tool. If you notice, I got my fill set to white. My stroke is 1. That's great. I got my header up here. I got my tools. So on the tool, it's the curve tool. It's the 4th tool down, okay? So with that, I'm just going to start at the bottom and make a heart. Valentine's Day is coming up. So I just click here. Then what I'm going to do is come over here and kind of click on the side. It's going to give you a ghost line of where it could be going, okay? That's kind of fun. So I'm going to come up here and go, so that's 1, 2, about 3, right in line with that one, 4, right in line with that one, 5, 6, 7. So at first glance, you have 7 points. It's not really a heart yet. I'm still on my curve tool, so what I'm going to do is come over to this point and double click. Ooh, then I'm going to double click on this one. There's a heart. So then I could also double click here, or I could press this little one, double click there, just pull that back a little, kind of right there, anchor it down a little, pull this one over, boom, pull this little handle down. That looks more like a heart. So there's a few options you can do with this just to really refine it. And this is one of those where it's like, hey, I made that heart, okay? So then with the fill, you could then give it a color splash. Boom. Okay. So I got all those options on there. The top arrow basically moves this around, okay? So if you notice, I'm on the top arrow. I can move it around. I can press Control-C, Control-V to make a separate one. Then I could change the color of this one maybe to a pink. Now, if it's too hot pink, you also have this little like color mixer easel looking thing like an old artist would have. You could change the color right there, okay? Ooh, there's a heart. All right. So I'm going to press Control-C again, Control-V. And I could just start making the hearts. Control-C, Control-V. You know, Control-C, Control-V. Control-C, Control-V. Ta-da! You could just start making hearts. You can make them all sorts of different shapes. You can move them all around. If you want to grab all of them, you could just click and hold and make a giant box over them. Then make like so, and you can make them bigger. You have total control over it. It reminds me of like back in my day when computers were new, the paint program you'd normally have. It's kind of like that, but it's a little bit more refined. Because these, believe it or not, everything that you see on the walls, stickers, shirt designs, all of them came from a vector, which means you could have it as small as a penny or as big as a skyscraper without losing line clarity. The vector is a very crisp and solid line because they don't pixelate it when you render it, okay? So what I mean by that is if you zoom in, see how that line never loses quality, okay? So it could be as small as a penny or as big as a skyscraper, okay? And so if you want to save it and send it to yourself, what you could do is go File, Export, Export As. I already made one earlier from the other videos. PNG is always the preferred method of saving. Just quickly. If you were going to send it to like a sticker company or something else, you'd save it in Illustrator a little bit different. But just for today, let's save it as PNG hearts and export. Yep, I do want to save over it. Want to make sure the background's white. You could also do it transparent or black, but white is nice. Press OK. Then I could just close that. I don't want to save it. Don't need to, because it's right here. See if I click on it, it's been updated. The little thumbnail's not updated. But if you want to send it to yourself, you could then email it to yourself just by logging into whichever email server you send it, attach that to it. And that's all there is to it for this one. And if you enjoyed making this shape, keep in mind this class, I do offer it, and I do offer the tutorials on YouTube. Okay, thank you.